Hello again, this is Verde, and today we're playing more Role of Hex. Last time we unlocked the missile launcher, which is something. So let's try to make a use of that. I don't really want to be... I have already unlocked Yunus, so perhaps I could do a mission there. Now let's try to be the Canas a little bit better now. Let's go to coordinators. Sure, these guys have a lot of range. But I don't know how good are they in this situation. They're fairly good. And they have another interesting thing, which is that they are able to sometimes hit enemies outside of their range. You know, so there's that. Anyway, I wanted to talk to you a little bit more. You know, I have done some progress on the Paleolithic game. That's for certain. You know, not a lot of progress in terms of programming, but a lot of progress in terms of game design, which is nice. Honestly, P-Box or Frenzy? Let's go P-Box, right? The Pandora's Box is an active ability, which, well, does that. Not necessarily that, it does a lot of things, too. In general, you know. Let's just make this thing. It is kind of an interesting pattern, I suppose. You know, it is three-way... what's the name of it? Symmetrical, I would say. And I like symmetry. I am a very big fan of symmetry. You know? So, sometimes, yeah, it does very questionable stuff. It is random, after all. Death Mark, it's interesting if we can get enough of it. It can be, like, very, very strong. But at the same time, it can be somewhat weak. Let's try to make an active heavy build. So anyway, about the Paleolithic game, I have decided, after some deep ponderation, I have decided that the game will be the main interface that you will interact with will be an hexagonal grid. Yeah, I know. I do that one a lot. And, well, I am a big fan of hexagons, but that's not the only reason, okay? The idea is that the player is supposed to... What do we have here? None of these is actually all that great for us. I wanted that one which made my things automatic. But anyway, let's go back to the Paleolithic talk, I suppose. So, the thing is about the Paleolithic game, you will be interacting with an hexagonal grid of structures. Not structures, but because they will be very loose. You will be able to drag them around and stuff, you know. But they will snap to an hexagonal grid. Because honestly, I wanted. You know, and there are very many benefits from doing an hexagonal grid. One of which is that, well, I've done it so many times that I gather way too much experience on it. You know? I gathered a lot of experience with hexagonal grids. And that's actually very good. Because that way I can implement stuff faster. You know, I know that I risk running into some repetition, you know, but I think that the player being able to create a flowchart, an hexagonal grid flowchart, it would be interesting at least, you know. The idea is that the player will be able to basically make a series of Uh, it is based on a concept in history or archaeology, which is chain opératoire. I do not know French, so quite literally, pardon my French. But the idea is that, well, let's think about a tool made out of stone. Okay, a stone tool. It has somewhat of a cycle in its lifetime of use, you know? There is the moment where the human finds it in nature, you know, and then he refines it, perhaps. Like, first he finds a stone that somewhat looks like the thing that he wanted to create. Like, oh, he wanted to make an axe. He probably will pick a stone that kinda looks like an axe, great, and then he will nap some pieces out of it, and then use it to do something, and then discard it later, or perhaps even recycle it into another tool, you know? Because, yeah, the tool don't last forever. It doesn't last forever. So there is that. We need more money. We could, like, eliminate the umbilical cords, I suppose. I think this one is pretty well defended. And we can come here and do a little bit of... yeah, a little bit of defense. Offensive defense, I would say. Anyway, so there is this whole concept of chain opératoire. French. There is this whole process of French that happens with a tool or with anything really, you know. And basically, I want the players to, in a way, create their own chain opératoire. Yeah, I should not try to speak French. There is a translation, but the translation loses a little bit of mismeaning, I believe. That's why they use the word in French, which is chain of operations, you know? Anyway, basically, I want the player to construct chains of operations that, yeah, he can quote-unquote automate those by delegation, of course. If you squint hard enough, delegation is automation, right? That's a land shark. Yeah, that's a land shark. That's forbidden. Stop. So we need more outposts. Oh, tombstone is actually pretty nice. It helps us a little bit. You create some dead tiles. Not dead, but deactivated tiles. Sometimes, like that. And we can get to it, which is nice. Anyway, so the idea is that the player can create their own chain operatoires and basically teach that to other humans, so that the other humans... Actually, the player is not actually a human, is like... The player is like a collective, I would say, collective mind of mankind, you know? So the player can teach humans to do stuff like, yeah, nap those rocks into, you know, choppers, you know, and then nap those choppers into some other tool. Because most of the time, really, the tools, the intermediate products of the construction of a tool would be useful as a tool, as it is, you know? You didn't need to go all the way there in order to have something useful. You know? Like, think that you are creating an axe, okay? A full-blown axe with a handle and stuff. If you somehow get to create an axe that does not have a handle, it is still useful. you know? It probably doesn't have all of the capabilities of the axe that you were trying to thinking about constructing in the first place, you know? But still, the intermediate product is useful as a tool. And in many cases, basically, the enhanced tool was just a tool that was like that went through more and more refinement process, you know, and eventually they polished their tools, but later, far later, you know, they start polishing their tools, which is nice, and yeah, retouching them and having details written on them, you know, culture and all of that. I don't know if I will put culture. I am not good at pronunciation today, am I? Yeah. The whole thing of pronouncing words is not helping me today. Anyway, I don't know if I will put such things, such as, well, I forgot, such as cravings and cravens. I don't know. My English is not helping me today. That's probably a curse for attempting to speak French there. The gods of languages have punished me by removing my capabilities of speaking English, which weren't all that refined to begin with, you know. But still. Oh yeah, more knockback. I like knockback. Anyway. So the idea is the player will create those chain operatoires. You know? And by doing that, they will be able to automate. And by automating, well, they will be able to gather further resources to, I don't know, make their workstations better. You know, because all actions in that game will happen in workstations, you know? Everything from item gathering to all of that will happen in workstations, you know? The idea is that the workstation is the thing which is capable of acquiring items and, I don't know, and modifying them, you know, and transforming. The workstation is the #1 game element in the game, and probably one of the very few ones, you know. Like the game will be around workstations and your ability to, well, do stuff regarding to them. And what would be a workstation? Well, the first workstation the player will be a gathering post, you know, not a proper gathering post with infrastructure, just a place in general. But that is a workstation, you know, in the game, for the game. That is a workstation. That is a managed workstation, you know. And the player will need to spend more resources to create more of those or upgrade the existing ones. You know? To either, I don't know, gather more stuff with every gathering operation, you know? Or possibly gather further. That way it will basically have more resources available to it. You know, that's a part of the consideration there. Yeah, this B-box build is very nice, isn't it? I wonder if we can do a little bit of Unos today. Anyway, so the idea is workstations, a lot of them. Like the second workstation, the player will probably figure out would be the stone anvil. I don't know. I don't know really which route they will gonna do first, you know? If they will go for napping first. You know, it is even possible to go ceramics first, even though it isn't, well, archaeologically correct. You know, it is up to the player to do so. You know? Like... And also, yeah, the player can nap. First thing, yeah, it creates a stone anvil. Great. The stone anvil is basically a stone, a very heavy stone, where the player can, well, it's basically used for a very specific technique in napping. You technically don't need a stone anvil for, well, most of it. But I added that as a needed workstation just so that the game logic still works, you know. Sometimes we gotta sacrifice. Historical accuracy in our games, or accuracy in general, realism, in order to get a little bit of game design going on, you know? Because otherwise, if your game is too accurate, but boring, it's not going to teach anyone anything, just because no one will play it, you know. So yeah, I think you gotta sacrifice sometimes. There is a word for that, meeting in the middle. But the gods of language have cursed me because of my French murder. So yeah, compromise. There we go. Sometimes we gotta compromise, you know. And I am certainly doing a little bit of some compromises here and there. So I don't want to switch anything. Actually, my thing is not doing all that great. So let's switch that out. Anyway, sometimes you gotta compromise historical accuracy with, well, not only historical accuracy in general, you know. So let's leave the planet. This one is starting to get a little bit difficult, to be honest. Let's play some these guys today. Survive for 10 minutes in the tundra. It would unlock me a sniper. I am very much interested in that. Yeah, let's think. So I think something like this would be very good here because of those spheres. I would gladly unlock the snipers. I think barrier is a little bit better here right now. Later, yeah, that could change, but right now I think barrier is something that we care a lot about. These guys, these ice spheres, they are terrifying because these low buildings there are not shielded. You know, Eunice is a planet that has a lot of mechanics, I guess, and excuse me, I should not have destroyed that tree, should I? Yeah, I don't think I can survive here. Probably died by destroying that tree. Because that wyvern is coming back. Yeah. I got absolutely destroyed there. There we go. Let's try again. Okay. Still high difficulty. But let's be a little bit more... Well, first of all, we are not targeting any trees. Wyverns are... And immediately the behemoth that I placed goes after trees. What's your problem, behemoth? You know, what are you trying to accomplish? You know, our death? You're all being very good at that. Yeah, let's get some damage going on. We're gonna need it. Anyway. Yeah. I think this time around I can possibly survive. I'm not sure though. Let's place a building there. Some more shields too. Shields are fundamental here. I could get a lot of attack speed, that would be great. You know... There we go, a wyvern. I very much don't like wyverns. In terms of their power level, they are way too strong. Let's be bigger so we don't die as easily. See, they are way too strong. Good grief. Perhaps I should grind a little bit more before coming to Yunus. Yeah, that's probably what I'll do. I'm way too weak right now. So what can I grind for? This one needs Yunus, which is something that we don't want. This any planet scouting missions would be great. Let's say. Yeah, the things without this one, defense missions, any planet. Defense missions, any planets, but I don't care about turn speed, do I? Build speed, I also don't care about that. I care about barrier related stuff, so defense, I suppose. Let's go for that. Do we have any defense missions here? Oh, we do have simulations going. Let's beat one. Why not? So, let's beat a simulation, why not? Actually, let's keep that for their own videos. Let's try to get our coordinators in the Konos instead of Yunus, why not? Oh, a gold thing. That is something that... Yeah, there is the distinct advantage from this planet. You know, off this planet, I would say. Yeah, sure, let's have a little bit more projectile speed. Sadly, the missiles don't benefit all that much from projectile speed. They still do, but the benefit is a little bit less than usual. This mission could be very simple if I just connect it there and there. Probably extermination missions are the easiest one to grind, but at the same time, I don't know if I will be doing that grind specifically. The difficulty is really hamping up, isn't it? I did not expect the game to become so hard, so fast, you know? Yes, it's been a while since I played it. No. Nuke is nice for farming. Let's just throw one in there, so we get some continuous things from that thing. You know, that's the idea. That we just throw in a nuke to farm that gold mine. Is it a good idea to do that? I don't know. Yeah, more experience multipliers. I very much do like that. Lot of resources coming from that. Sure, more experience multiplier. More of that, and we are going to get a purple next. Please be a good purple, like Clone Factory or something. Oh, this is a good one, kinda. It benefits from barrier upgrades, so let's try to have a good barrier on the game. You know, and we are dealing a lot of damage to a lot of enemies. I wonder what's happening. You know, perhaps it's something related to range. Range is very good. Let's get range. So, synthetic aperture is a thing that allows us to build some very special buildings, which are these guys, the telescopes. The thing about telescopes is you need to place them somewhat further apart from each other. You cannot place them right next to each other. However, they have an effect that they increase the range of all of your buildings while they are alive, of course. And that is very much good. So it basically forces you to have a big base. However, well, you benefit a lot from having a big base since your projectiles can reach very far. And if you hold V, you can see a map of where I can place that. Let's place one here. We don't have the money, so let's not place one there. Actually, I would rather explore the desert. The enemies here in the desert are a little bit tougher than usual. Tougher than the enemies outside of the desert, certainly. However, they are also... yeah, we can find those things. You know? And those things are a lot of resources. The further away you are from your spawning point, the most resources they have. You know? So I think it is very good for us to have a lot of them. Let's keep going, shall we? Let's make a slightly longer video. So anyway, I spent a lot of time researching and developing that game and designing that game. That Paleolithic game. You probably are already tired of hearing about it at this point. You know, but... yeah. I like the fact that it is in a hex grid, you know. That it will be in a hex grid, the chains of operations. That would be something interesting, you know. I wonder which kinds of issues will arrive from that, right? Because certainly some issues will arrive from that. Issues always arrive, you know. Making games is fixing problems. You know, we have an idea, and that idea will have some problems. And, well, you should fix those problems. You should figure out a way of fixing them. Not every problem is fixable. Not every problem is fixable. That is also a truth. But some problems are fixable enough. Sometimes, some pesky stuff, like math, comes into place to not allow you to fix your problem. You know, sometimes you'll happen to step into a game mechanic that would only work if you would, I don't know, find two numbers that elevated to the third power would equal another number elevated to the third power. You know? I don't know. And then math would step in and say, no, you cannot do that. And who am I to... Or sometimes you need to casually solve the traveling salesman problem, which you can't, so you need to figure out another way of implementing your solution, you know. You need to figure out some stuff. But eventually you'll get to a solution that you'll feel comfortable enough. Actually, let's nuke that. We can nuke that very easily. Oh, I do like this, but for later, not for now. We done a pretty lot of these gathering mission, right? Gathering coordinators. I like the lightning. You know, it has a cooldown per tower. Once per second per tower. So we won't happen like repeatedly. Sniper would be good here, but we are not unlocking snipers yet. But yo. Yeah, we got a lot of towers there. Let's actually sell those. We don't really need them. Is this a coordinator? Sure looks like one. So a lot of more damage increase, resources up, attack speed. Sure, let's leave it here. I hope you guys enjoyed this video, whatever that thing was. And I hope to see you guys next time. I should probably do some challenges next time.